Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.
Tonight's Veteran Salute learned about persistence and commitment early on. As a Boy Scout, he sold 400 dozen donuts to pay for a trip to tour the Northeast. And as KSN's Katie Tabby shares, scouting wasn't Joe Oliver's only passion.
Joe loved scouting, but also had a passion for football. He said he'd give up scouting to pursue the game and still regrets it to this day. However, a busted knee during a game in his senior year would end his hopes of playing for OU, and that's when his life took another turn.
Didn't keep me out of the service, but it kept me from playing additional football.
The military came calling. Joe had been dating his now wife for about a year when the war broke out in 1941. He would finally convince her to marry him before he took a deal from the government that guaranteed Joe could keep his job with the Crest Company if he enlisted in the military. So Joe enlisted in the Army Air Corps and trained to be a turret gunner and was told he'd then head overseas.
The trucks came, we were all lined up, the trucks left, we were left, every one of us. 2 barracks full of them left. They went to England. They found our orders in England.
Joe's barrack was left behind and told to wait another 30 days for more orders. He wound up in Shreveport, Louisiana, attached to a B-25 squadron.
It was the first time I actually got into a power turret in an airplane. I was tickled to death. And I sat there, seemed like all day, but I went over that thing from top to bottom because the rumor was we'd end up being a gunner overseas.
But instead of heading overseas, Joe would take part in establishing a school to train more aviators. Joe himself would be in charge setting up a gunnery school. He remembers a fellow instructor begging various commanders to take him overseas with them.
Well, he went over. 6 weeks later, we got a letter from him. He says, "Boys, if you can, stay where you are. They shoot real bullets over here." We never heard from him again.
Joe returned home in 1945. He and his wife had 2 kids, and Joe went back to work for the Crest Company. He'd later go into sales, working in insurance and real estate. Joe and his wife still live here in Wichita and have been married for 76 years.
The secret, honey, is you just say, "I kiss an angel" every morning. And I haven't missed very many.
Here for you in Wichita, Katie Tabby, KSN News.
Tonight we salute Joe Oliver for his service during World War II.
DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers here, and we're honored to be with Mr. Joe Oliver. Mr. Oliver, thank you for your service in World War II, and we're honored to present you with a check for $500 as this week's Veteran of the Week.
And I hope also similar honors can go to the engineers, planners that furnished the equipment that we had to use.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.